There's people being paid millions of dollars doing exactly what you're trying to do for a living, worse. So if that's the case, I should be paid well for what I do.
This is episode 65 of the Arts Academy podcast, How to Ask for More Money, hosted by Victor Varnado and Roxxy Haze.
Hey everybody, this is the Arts Academy podcast put on by the New York Alt Arts Academy. I am Dean Victor Varnado. This is Deputy Headmistress Roxxy Haze. We teach you everything we possibly can about entertainment and the arts. Today, we are going to be talking about how to ask for more money. Now, when you're an artist, this is part of the job, is asking for more money, because a lot of times you're going to be the negotiator for yourself. Mm-hmm. So here's the thing. There are a lot of concerns when you're asking for more money. And the main concern, I think, that a lot of artists have is they don't want to scare people off. Okay? Like, if someone is offering you any money, you generally will say, you'll think I want more money, because who doesn't? Who doesn't want more money? Let's get beyond the idea of like money is the root of all evil, that kind of thing. Okay, fine. But you want more money, okay? And if you want more money, the way you're going to get more money, at the beginning of your career, is to ask for it. And I get that it's hard, but let's talk about different ways that we ask for more money. Now, have you had this problem where, like, you've got a project and you're afraid, or like, why is it that you won't ask for more money? Like, have you been in situations where you wanted more money and you didn't ask? Why did you do that?
I could say, well, in stand up, like starting off, I was just like, I'm not funny enough to be asking for more money. Like, I don't think I'm good enough to be asking for more money, and I should just be happy to be taking whatever money I'm getting. It was that kind of thing. So yeah, I would be doing, $20, $25, but like now I was like 4 years in and I had a following. Somebody had to tell me, like, no, you should be asking for more money. They should be paying you more. Right. So I'm better at it now, but it's still just an awkward conversation, because I think it's also just the stigma with art. Like, it's a thing you should just be happy to be doing, like you're not supposed to be in art for the money type thing.
Right. I think that I actually got over that. I actually didn't really get over that until the last few years, honestly, and I should have been over it a long time ago. But there are a few things that broke me into the idea of that I should be paid very well for what I do. Mm-hmm. Number one, and I've said this 1,000 times to different people. Number one, there's people being paid millions of dollars doing exactly what you're trying to do for a living, worse. So if that's the case, I should be paid well for what I do. And then number two, that's the only way. Getting paid more for being an artist is the only way you're going to make a living being an artist. Mm-hmm. So you have to think about how it is that you're going to get paid to make a living for being an artist. And people also talk about the idea of experience and training. Like when people are designing logos, sometimes I don't know who came up with this analogy, but when people are designing logos, sometimes people will sit down at a table and they'll design a logo, and it'll take them 20 minutes, and then they'll be like, $5,000, please. Okay, but you're not paying for that 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. You're paying for that years and years of training and experience that got them to be that person who could sit down for 20 minutes and make a logo that's worth $5,000. Mm-hmm. And it may seem or even be very simple to them, but it's hard sometimes to think about, because I often think that what I do has no value, because what difference is it for me to draw on a napkin and make a cartoon, or to draw on a piece of paper and it ends up in the New Yorker? One, they're both my inspiration, but one I get paid very well for, and one I get paid absolutely nothing for. Mm-hmm. And they may take me the exact same amount of time to create. And so it's hard. It used to be hard for me to assign value to something that at other times, even to me, has absolutely no value. Sometimes it doesn't mean anything to me to like sketch in my sketchbook and come up with something, but at the same time, that same sketch I could turn around and sell for thousands of dollars or hundreds of dollars or what, hundreds of thousands of dollars. It depends. Like I've the most I've ever been paid for my artwork, I think, was about $2,000. Okay, so that, but there's other people who've been paid millions for their artwork.
Yeah. It's
so,
crazy.
Yeah. And so how do you assign, like, how do you decide what value there is to it? Now, what I'm going to tell you is going to sound just straight up mercenary. One could even say ghetto. I grew up, you know, in low income places. So it's just my life. This is who I am. So I say, honestly,
say it.
Get what you can.
Yes, get the bag.
Get what you can for it, because it is up to you to decide what has value, because it doesn't, I mean, I hate to say this, but it doesn't matter. Like you can, there like, you get a painting where somebody throws paint into a jet engine and it hits a canvas, and that
millions of dollars.
Yeah, that can sell for millions of dollars. And you can say one way, oh, that's worth millions of dollars, because think about the inspiration, the gall, the audacity of the artist to bring this to our attention. Think the beauty of what this chaos is on canvas. You can talk it up and it is worth $1 million, but also you could be like, that's just some paint on the canvas, it's worth nothing. Because to some people it's worth nothing. There are people who are millionaires who would never pay $1 million for that painting, and there are people who will. That's the way it is with everything. There's always somebody who will agree with you that, yes, this is worth that much money. There's always somebody who will agree with you. So really, just what you value your work at is what it's worth. You determine what your work is worth, and then people will come along. The way that the entertainment industry works, at least for me, is part of it is just people. Part of it is the emperor's new clothes. The entertainment industry is the emperor's new clothes. Everybody, if everyone else agrees that something is awesome, then other people are like, oh, that must be awesome. I have to have one of those things, whatever it is that is so awesome. And so part of it is the emperor's new clothes. Some of it is I mean, I don't want to belittle my own work, but sometimes I've made things where people embrace it. They tell me it's a masterpiece, and that's not how I look at it, but I allow people to call it a masterpiece, because that's part of the entertainment world. Is just like you allow people to take ownership of it, because they want to. People out there, they want to. I'm just trying to give you a pep talk in general as people out there. I want you to understand that people want to pay a lot of money for your art. They want to put value in art.
Yep.
I don't care if it takes you 10 seconds to make it. They want to put value in your art. And it doesn't mean that everything you do has to be like that $1 million piece of work. One thing can take you 10 seconds to make, and another thing can take you 10 seconds to make. You can give one thing away for free and sell one for $1 million. It's not solely about the art. It is about what it means to people buying it. It is about what it means to the people consuming it. It's about what it means to you. You make the value, they make the value when they're trying to buy it. I think that everything lives in there's a duality to everything, where everything is valuable and not valuable at the same time.
Agreed.
I think that with all things, in fact, if you look at the phrase "nothing is sacred because everything is stupid," you find me, because that's what has been on the internet. Put that in quotes. You'll find me. You'll find my Twitter account, because it's been on my Twitter account, like, I think since the beginning. Nothing is sacred because everything is stupid. I believe that everything, the only value is the value that you put in things. So there's absolutely no reason for you not to, there's no reason for you not to put a high value on what you do. There's no reason that what you create isn't worth everything. There's no reason. So like, when you're negotiating with people, of course you don't want to scare them away, but you push them to the point where that they're willing to pay for what you're doing. Okay, now that being said, you can ask for $1 million. Okay, millions of dollars for whatever it is you're doing. On a realistic scale, when you're negotiating with people, it's very different. Okay, so when you're negotiating with people, not everybody's going to have $1 million. So you have somebody who is trying to, say, purchase from you. They want you to speak at an event, and they say, "How much do you charge for speaking at an event?" Here is the most useful phrase that I have for negotiating with people when you're trying to get to, because you don't know what number is too much for them, and you don't know what is, too little. Here's the phrase that you say: "My regular fee is X, but I'm willing to work with you on this project. So tell me what you've got." That way they understand that you value what you have, but you're willing to figure it out. So there's wiggle room. So that's the phrase that doesn't scare people away. Is when you say, "This is my regular fee, but this is what I'm willing to work with people on." And in fact, I just said that to someone recently when I was asked to make a gag cartoon for somebody. I told them, I asked them, like, what kind of cartoon it's going to be. Is it going to be black and white, XYZ? And I said, I won't say the actual number I told them, but it's close to this number. I said, my regular fee per cartoon is $700, but I'm willing to work with you on this project. So tell me what you can afford. And then they paid me $700 a cartoon. Well, I mean, the $700 was the number I was using. It's close to that number. I don't want to say what they paid me just because we're in the middle of working on it right now, but it was definitely hundreds of dollars. And so, but that's what I said. I said, my regular fee is $700 per cartoon. But I'm willing to work with you on this project. That lets them know what you're expecting. So it lets them know around what value it's going to have. So if I say my regular fee is $700 per cartoon, and then they come back to me with $100 per cartoon, then they know that I'm going to walk away. So they know not to treat you like an idiot.
Okay, yep.
That's what that phrase does. It lets them know that you're willing to work with them. If the number you throw out is scary, then it lets them know that they can give you another offer. But it also tells them that within reason, you can't just go crazy. You can't be like, "Oh, let me give you a quarter." You can't do that. That's an impression of, like, one of my uncles. "Let me give you a quarter for that."
All people love quarters.
Yeah, that's worth a quarter. Why don't you get? Let me give you a quarter for that. But that's. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say I have a question, but finish what you were saying first.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the number one phrase that I use in all, and that works for art, that works for acting, that works for being a director, that works for whatever. Just when people throw it in your lap, you tell them what your regular fee is, and say, "But I'm willing to work with you." That way, you give them a ballpark that they can work with. And sometimes they'll be like, oh, $700. Haha, yes, of course. Haha, let's do it. And then you'll be like, oh, but when you throw out that fee, throw out something you'll be happy with. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So throw out that something, because sometimes they'll have like enough money that they will agree to that immediately. Fine. They win that one, but at least you throw out a number that you're happy with. So just be happy with that. But just remember that phrase is just like a way that you can get to that point really easily. Value what you do. The price is infinite, but when you throw things out like that, and then that number should always keep going up, because if your last job was $700 a cartoon, say if you're a cartoonist, then your next job could be $1,000. Your next job could be $2,000. Like, that number should always keep going up until you're the person who is like doing $10,000 cartoons.
Gotcha. Well, my question is, how do you decide? Do you have like a formula or something? How do you decide your regular fee? Like, what do you?
My regular fee is a number that I don't feel like a jerk doing that thing for.
Okay.
Like it has to do with like what you would do it for. For instance, like I'm a stand-up comedian. I've done stand-up for, $5,000 for 10 minutes, and I've done stand-up for $100 for 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. Okay, but what were those shows? The $5,000 for 10 minutes was on a high profile like college tour show where everybody was getting paid really well. And so I would go from show to show doing shows, $5,000 for 10 minutes. Okay. That's what that show is. The $100 for 30 minutes was at a bar near my house. I could just walk out the door,
Gotcha.
Walk to the bar. I had some drinks and some food. It was no big deal. I got $100 for 30 minutes. I was fine with that because the amount of effort, I didn't feel like a jerk taking $100 for 30 minutes because it was so easy. Mm-hmm. And I didn't feel like I would have felt like a jerk if I was on a tour with other people who were getting paid thousands of dollars and I only got $100 for 10 minutes of comedy. So it depends. It depends what you're willing to work for. It's just like you settle on that number that makes you feel okay.
Okay.
That's the number that you've got to start at. And then you can go way beyond that number too. I mean, and sometimes it's great. And then sometimes it will happen. Often what happens is when I drive my regular fee up, when I say, okay, this is how much I'm willing to work for, when I'm driving my regular fee up, somehow, I don't know how it actually happens, but then I start getting offers for much more. Just generally, people start offering me a lot more. And when I finally decided on working like this, like where the value, I decided like the value is infinite, whatever I'm working on, then my whole life changed because I went from not being a cartoonist to the first place that I get published in was Mad Magazine and then the New Yorker. So I went from zero to Mad Magazine and the New Yorker because I was just like, well, why not? Like, why shouldn't I be able to do that? I look through the New Yorker and I look at the cartoons and like, there are a lot of people in the New Yorker who are better artists than I am, but there are a lot of people in the New Yorker who are not as good as artists as I am. And there are a lot of people in the New Yorker that are funnier than I am, and there's a lot of people who are not funnier than I am. So could I be in the New Yorker? Seems like I could. Let's start submitting. And that's what I did. And then I got in the New Yorker. And so it's just because like, why not me? Why not you? Mm-hmm. Are there people out there doing exactly what you want to do, worse, and making millions of dollars? The answer is always yes, unless you're at the top of the game. Mm-hmm.
I like that.
And even people at the top of the game, there's probably somebody better than them, just like hungry out there, who just doesn't have any business sense.
I see it all the time. It's so sad.
Oh yeah, it's out. It happens all the time where like people who are very, very talented just have no business sense and just don't know how to turn stuff around, which is unfortunate, but it's out there.
Aw.
Well, I think we've talked a lot about
the game,
asking for more money.
This was the game episode, Victor. I like this one.
It is. I mean, I think it's a good episode, like how to ask for more money, because like you gotta do that. You just gotta value yourself, even though nothing means anything. And because nothing means anything, then you can ask for everything.
I love it. Pimp knowledge.
Anyway, that is everyone's lesson on stoicism. And remember, you can find us at Arts Academy Podcast and at Alt Arts Academy on all social media. We love you. Please ask us questions. We will answer them in full episodes of this podcast. I am Dean Victor Varnado. This is Deputy Headmistress Roxxy Haze. Check us out on Saturday. We're going to have if you're on the week that this is released, on Saturday we're going to have a free workshop. So please join our Facebook group. Look us up at the New York Alt Arts Academy. All right. I am going to hit the button which ends the show.